Hey guys, it's Shauna Kathleen. So I want to start a food blog with you, a video series talking to you about different foods topics. And today I want to start with eggs, the incredible edible egg. I want you guys to become, really smart, educated foodies who make really good choices for you and your family. Okay, so let's start with eggs. I'm going to pick up here one of the cartons that I just bought. I don't know if you've noticed in the egg aisle, but it can be a little overwhelming. Those marketers have gotten really smart about positioning their products different ways. And let's talk about what their labels mean. Okay, so I have this first one. This is Eggland's Best cage-free eggs. These are brown eggs, and you can see over here, the list of the vitamins that these eggs contain, or really eggs in general contain, okay? So cage-free, what is the difference between cage-free and free range? So if you saw the movie Food Inc., you have seen that the standard chicken is raised in a cage that's so tiny that they can't even turn around. Typically there's 2 chickens per cage and they cannot move at all. They have a really poor quality of life. They actually cut their beaks. The farmers have to cut their beaks so that they don't peck their neighbor. Okay, cage free does mean that they are raised without that cage. However, it typically means that they are still in a very small, like shoved in there kind of area where they still have limited range of motion. They are standing in their poop. They typically still have their beaks cut off because again, they don't have very much room. So cage free is better than eggs that are in a cage. However, we can do better. Okay, free range does mean that they have small outside access. But if you have, a very small, it's not required, the size is not measured or whatever. It just means they have to have some outside access. And typically that's very small. And again, the birds don't necessarily get to that outside access because let's say you have 1,000 birds per this small area, they don't necessarily get to be outside, okay? Let's talk about this one. I had never seen this one before until a week ago. Naturally nested, and then look, they show you this big picture over here where it looks like those birds have so much room, okay? That is not what it looks like for those little birds. Naturally nested just means that they're not in the cage. They are able to make nests, which is a standard bird behavior, okay? But they are still shoved into these teeny tiny little spaces. It doesn't say anything about how big of an area that they have. This one specifically says fed an all vegetarian diet, which I was like, oh yeah, that sounds really good. But chickens are actually natural carnivores, right? They eat bugs and insects. They love that. So what this tells me, this vegetarian diet here, is that they have been just given like standardized like grains or whatever that are probably GMO because it doesn't say anything about that, right? So a standardized food that they're given from their farmers. And what that also tells me is that because it's vegetarian, they've never been outside. They have no outdoor access, right? Because otherwise they'd be eating those bugs and insects, right? So vegetarian fed, not me personally, not buying these again. Okay, let's see what else we have. Okay, organic. Okay, so there's always like organic is expensive, and should you buy things that are organic, or is it really worth it or not? And right with the fruits and vegetables, we have the Clean 16 and the I've forgotten, and the Dirty Dozen, right? And you can look those up and it tells you which ones are the most important for you to buy organic, okay? Organic eggs, I do believe are important. They are a good choice. These are also free range. They don't say anything about vegetarian fed, right? So they probably have outdoor access. This says we never use antibiotics, synthetic hormones, toxic pesticides, or GMOs. It says organic is always non-GMO. And because, if you look right here, it has the USDA organic, you can guarantee that those are true statements. That is regulated by the USDA in order to have that label. So you have a better knowledge of the safety of your food, right? Because of that specific label. That's a good one, right? Okay, so organic eggs are a bonus. It does not say how much outside access that they have. It is no indicator. Maybe they have, again, just that small limited outside access, okay? Which leads me to my next one, which is the one I really, really love. Okay, so between those first three boxes, my palate is not developed enough to taste between those three eggs. I can't taste the difference between the organic and between the naturally nested or the cage-free. I can, however, taste the difference between these lovely eggs, okay? These are pasture-raised alfresco eggs, ethical eggs, and happy hens, okay? And maybe that sounds like woo-woo, like come on now, really, happy hens? But these are pasture raised. It tells you exactly on the box, minimum 108 square feet per bird, okay? And I saw, when I picked this up, I saw another brand that said 22 square feet per bird, okay? So that's pretty awesome because you know that these hens are being raised where they are having a better quality of life, right? And I do believe that there's energy in that, right? Like I believe that that bird is a more vital bird. That bird does have inner happiness. I know it sounds woo-woo, but I would rather eat a happy bird who's had a high quality of life. I do believe that that is in the vitamin and nutritional content of the egg itself. I also feel good because I feel like these birds have had a good life and have been raised humanely. So this is the egg that I'm recommending. Anything that says pasture raised, okay? But let's be honest. Let's talk about budgets because we all have to be on a budget, and eating healthy, you know, sometimes it's a little more pricey. These eggs were $6.99 a dozen. These eggs were $2.99 a dozen. That is a big difference, right? That is a big difference. I'm not gonna lie. And I am on a budget too. So here's what I have done and what I ask you to do, okay? I make a 50% commitment. I make a 100% commitment, but I make a 100% commitment that 50% of my eggs, will be pasture raised, okay? And that comes in 2 counts, right? So I would recommend for you to make a 100% commitment to either buy eggs from your local farmer who you know, like, and trust, and you know that they're not feeding those chickens GMO. You know that those chickens have a high quality of life, and you like you feel like they do ethical farming. Okay, so that's one what I would recommend. 2, I would recommend the pasture raised eggs, absolutely. And 3, organic, and I would probably go in that order. I would make 100% commitment. I ask you to make 100% commitment to doing a percentage of your eggs that are those type of eggs. Like, I know it's really easy to say, I can't afford that, so I'll just buy these ones over here, these caged normal eggs, those are only $1.99, and that's what my family can afford. I challenge you to just bump up to the next level. You know, can you buy 1 dozen of the regular egg and 1 dozen of the organic? Can you go to your local farmer's market and see if you can buy eggs from there? Just 50% of your eggs. The other 50% can be whatever it is, you know. If you can go more and you can go 70% of the organic or local farmer or pasture raised eggs, awesome. If you can afford 100% pasture raised local farmer eggs, awesome. That's the ultimate goal, right? But we have to work within our budget and we have to do the best that we can. So instead of giving up your hands and saying, can't afford it, what can you afford? What can you do? Okay, because that's what counts. So I want to leave you guys with that today. We all can do our part and make our effort and, you know, do what's best for ourselves and our family. So peace. Love you guys.